So I don't really have a lot of hobbies because most of the things that I do in my free time I don't really consider to be hobbies because I don't do them very consistently. So the only real consistent hobby that I have is playing Hearthstone. And Hearthstone, if you don't know, is a digital card game. It's similar to Magic the Gathering, if you know that. And like all of the hobbies that I've ever had, I first got into it because of my brother. We used to play Magic back in the day, and so when Hearthstone first came out, he was sort of interested in it and introduced me to it. And I played it a little bit, and I decided I didn't like it because I couldn't win, and so I stopped playing. And then Twitch became a thing, and so when I first started watching Twitch, I kind of just watched whatever game seemed interesting. But one of the games that I kept coming back to was Hearthstone. And the reason being is Hearthstone is really easy to watch and to follow along with. It's not like, say, League of Legends, where when you watch League of Legends, unless you play the game, you don't really know what's going on when you're watching it. But with Hearthstone, it's really easy to watch it with just sort of the most basic understanding of the game. You know what's happening. You can follow along really easily. You can be like, oh, he should make this play or he should make that play. And so this as I was watching it, I started thinking, this doesn't seem so bad. Maybe I'll play it again. And so I picked it back up. And I still didn't really know what I was doing, and so I still couldn't win, and I got frustrated and I quit again. But I kept watching it on Twitch because, like I said, it's really easy and fun to watch. And so eventually I got back to wanting to play it again, and because I'd spent so much time watching it, this time I sort of knew enough about what I was doing that I wasn't completely terrible, and from then on, I just kind of kept up with the game because the more you play, you get more of the in-game currency to buy cards, and so I don't need to spend real money because I play the game every day. And so these days, I still watch Hearthstone on Twitch. Like I said, it's really easy to watch, and just kind of have on in the background. It's really nice. And so if I were to stop playing, I would still be watching it, and so eventually I'd probably want to start playing again, in which case I would need to have the cards to play with. So I keep playing because, not because I like it necessarily, I do enjoy it to some extent, but mostly I play it today because I think I might want to play it tomorrow. So maybe not entirely healthy, but that is the equilibrium I've reached. Now it's my turn to ask a question. So let's talk about music. What are some songs that are really interesting to you and why? So it could be interesting lyrically, musically, historically, maybe it just gets you thinking. I'm not real picky, just something that's interesting to you and why it's interesting. So the song I want to talk about is Toccata by Overwork. Link in the sidebar, wherever that is. And so the origin of this song is a piece by Bach. It's called Toccata and Fugue in D minor. You might be familiar with the song even if you don't know that you know it, because it's that stereotypical haunted house song. And so the overwork version is essentially an electronic remix of this classical piece. And so that's why it's so interesting to me, because I'm not generally a huge fan of classical music, but a lot of the music that I enjoy isn't fundamentally all that different from classical music. Maybe the instruments are a little bit different, maybe more rhythm and bass, maybe some vocals added on top, but the underlying music, a lot of the time, a lot of modern music is really just classical music. And this isn't like a new revelation. Like, if you've heard the Pachelbel rant, he basically talks about how every song that he hears sounds like Pachelbel's canon in D. So like, this is sort of a known thing, but it's really interesting to me that I don't like classical music really, but I like music that's derived from classical music, and I like remixed classical music a lot. So yeah, tell me something interesting about the music you listen to.